Hello everyone, I've done it again, and by done it again, I do not mean make a very overpowered build like the Overwhelming Presence tech. What I mean is I put hundreds of divines into a mediocre skill that probably clears about as good as a one divine spark build. But yeah, so today we have Unearth. It is level 40, we have no mana, let's get right into it. So I've jumped into a pretty normal, easy map here, just level 80. To show off the build. This is a minion build, ultimately. Since we're level 40 on our skill gem, it does do quite a bit of damage against white mobs, but it's not really our damage ability. We are using Sacrifice, so we can kill our own minions and turn them into bone constructs, because those are the minions that are actually doing damage. And so we'll just go ahead and start mapping while I talk about this. You can see we don't do much damage to them, but our bone constructs will slowly clear. They are melee minions. This is not skeleton arsonists. This is not skeleton archers. It is not easy clearing. I'll tell you what. You got to be pretty active with all your abilities, and make sure that the minions aren't getting stuck and they're walking to the next pack and not focusing on one little white mob that doesn't even matter. But we'll start going this way. I mean, they don't get too stuck anymore. You can see when the clerics spawned, they got a little stuck. And then our clerics will get in the way, but again, we have Unearth and Sacrifice, so we can kill our own clerics and then let our damaging minions through. And for our offerings, we have Bone Offering, which will create a shield. I think it's a one-hit shield on all the minions, including the offering, and it'll explode doing a lot of physical damage, and well, I guess we don't really scale physical damage, but we do have minion damage on the build, which that is probably what it scales with. I actually don't know. But we do have some support gems on it that make it do more damage, so that's something. And it does scale with minion gem levels. And then we also have Pain Offering, which gives our minions a lot more attack speed, and it also gives them more damage. So they go kind of crazy when we spawn that in. So for mapping, we're always just spawning in our offerings and running around and killing stuff. We have Eye of Winter for bosses, and then, as you might have seen, we have Cast on Minion Death, which is dropping Vulnerability, which is a curse that reduces or ignores enemy armor when they are hit by physical hits, which our bone constructs are physical. And we've made it here to the boss. And I'll just kill all of my own minions, and actually, when there's no enemies in the area, you're kind of considered out of combat, so you can do like this weapon swap thing, so I can kill all my minions, and then do a weapon swap, and they'll come back, weapon swap, and oh, this guy's still around, so it didn't work. And now we're out of combat, and they keep spawning in, so we can spawn in all of our bone constructs. Once we're in the boss fight, we can't do that, but do one more before we go in. And then we'll just hit our own minions to cast Vulnerability, and then put up our offerings. Throw out an Eye of Winter. They killed the lady first, and now they'll go after the big mammoth. So again, like I said, this build is very expensive, and you just saw about how good it was. It is not like a clearing demon by any means. This is just for fun for me to make builds, and I mean the boss damage is pretty cool. But yeah, I might talk as if I'm teaching you how to make the build, but please consider how expensive this is going to be before you actually try and make this. I would suggest just listening to the video, getting my ideas, seeing the tech I use, why I have 0 mana, and all the information I learned about minions and how I've implemented it, since this is my first minion build. Okay, so how did we get Unearth to level 40? Well, this is a spell skill, so it will scale with spell skill increases like on a wand. It is a minion skill, so it will scale with scepters, and it's physical. So any physical modifier, like physical spell skills, will increase it. But here we go. So we have 6 on our wand, 5 from the suffix, and then 1 from the corrupted enchantment. Both of them are physical spell skills. You can also get regular spell skills, but really doesn't matter. And then we have 5 on our scepter. We have 3 minion skills on our amulet because instead of spell skills, because we are using like all other minion skills, so just get minion skills on this. We have a corrupted Unearth, and then we have +1 on the masteries, And then for the last few, we have 3 on our Prism of Belief Diamond, which this is probably the cheapest thing on here. It's like 60 exalts for an Unearth Prism of Belief. And one of the main problems with having a high level skill gem is obviously mana management, because it's going to cost me literally, I think it was like 1,400 mana. And the way that I got around this is by getting no mana. This is actually not mana, it's Infernal Flame from the Infernalist, and I found this tech from Palstron, I think that's how you say his name, but it's 104% reduced mana. And that makes it so your Infernal Flame goes to 0, and you can see that we are casting with Infernal Flame with the cost, but since we have 0 Infernal Flame, we never reach max Infernal Flame, so we never take self-damage, so we are casting for free. So how are we getting the 104% reduced mana? Well, it is extremely exact, and you need perfectly corrupted uniques, so this is very, very expensive. I'm pretty sure this was 30 divines, where it's usually 15% reduced maximum mana, but it's corrupted up to 17%, and that is a range, so that makes it very hard to get that corruption. And then with this, it is 25% reduced maximum mana, but with a perfect corruption, it is 30%. I'm pretty sure this is like, since there's no range on this, it was only like 15 divines, 20 divines or something. And then that is only, 47% reduced mana right there. And the rest we get on our tree. And can we move? And the reason we need 104% increased or reduced maximum mana is because of this 4% increased maximum mana. So that's why we need to take that back down before we get the Infernal Flame. So on the tree, you can get 10% reduced here. You get 5, 5, and 10% reduced mana here. And without this jewel in here, you can get 5, 5, 5, and 10 here, which will all put you to 102%. And so what you do is you get a medium or large radius jewel with at least 20% increased effect of small passive skills and radius, and that will change these 2 right here to 6% instead of 5%, which gets us to 104% reduced mana. You do not need to get large. You do not need to get corrupted. This is actually now a unscalable value. And by saying it's an unscalable value, I mean you can't increase it with Adorned, which is this unique jewel over here that increases the effect of magic corrupted jewels. This used to increase this, but it doesn't anymore. So as I said, we're taking Pyromantic Pact, so our reduced mana just lets us cast for free, and we never take self-damage. And then there's really nothing else that's super worth to take, besides just more Energy Shield and more Spirit. This, you just have to get it on the way. It has a little bit of benefit. And then you can use the Hellhound, but it's not important. Sacrifice will not kill the Hellhound, which is actually pretty cool, so you won't just delete him randomly. And then Grinning Immolation, there's no point taking this because we're really not doing much damage with our Unearth. And then you can't even take these because there's no way to reduce your mana more when you take these small passives. And no mana, so no point in taking that. And for the rest of the tree, it looks like a minion tree. It's it's really funny because I make all my builds without looking at people's videos unless I need like a small idea. I already saw that reduced mana tech in the past, so that's why I knew to put it on this build. But yeah, I don't look at anything, and then before I post a video, I obviously look at people's builds that are similar to mine to make sure I'm not missing anything big, so I don't look stupid, basically. And every minion tree looks the exact fucking same, so it's really boring. So we'll just get through this. I do value having all the minion revive faster here, 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 and here, because they are casting our curses. They are our minions if we lose all of our minions, or they create new bone constructs if we lose all of our bone constructs. And then also we need them around for bone offering and pain offering, because even though that, I don't know what this one says. Yeah, both of them say impales a skeleton on a bone spike. Well, the bone constructs are made of bone and they look like skeletons. So you would think that you can use pain and bone offering on them, but you cannot. You can only use reviving minions, even though it doesn't say that anywhere, of course. So yeah, that's annoying. So we need these guys around so we can cast our offerings to buff our bone constructs. So that's why I value that so much. And then I have a little bit of elemental resistances here and here. I think my minions are only at like 48% elemental resistances, but it doesn't matter because they have like 10,000 health because we do have some health nodes on here. Then all of the minion critical damage, some critical damage here. This is my anoint, critical chance. Oh, there's no crit there. That's just attack speed. And then we get a bunch of like the most efficient minion damage nodes because I value the damage over the crit because the crit chance isn't that good regardless. It's very good against bosses since they're going to be taking a lot of hits. So on average, the crit chance will be worth it. In mapping, the damage will be better because we're not critting that often. So just damage is more important. Same with attack speed. Just adds consistency to mapping. Then all of our jewels that we have here that are magic corrupted because we have an adorned are minion damage and then either crit chance or crit damage. There, I have a path of building. You can check everything out on. I guess the only other remaining thing is energy shield is our main health pool. So we got all that here, here, and here. And then I have some skill effect duration. So our offerings and our bone constructs last that much longer. Oh, and then some AoE on our offerings. Okay, so looking at the gear, I already talked about this a little. We have all of our physical spell skills on here. And then I also have cast speed and spell damage. I was lucky enough to get that. I think the cast speed is more important than the spell damage, but spell damage definitely helps a little bit. And then on our scepter, we have increased damage to the allies in our presence, which is super good for the minions, obviously. Then we have increased critical chance. I'd probably prefer attack speed over the critical chance if I was going to rebuy this. And then I have a little bit of elemental resistances. Flat damage does not matter on this because especially elemental damage doesn't matter. You'll see why. And then adding physical damage to the allies in your presence is so minor because our base damage, because of our level 40 skill gem, is so high that adding like 30 additional physical damage is nothing. Like I said, I'm getting reduced mana on this, which is the only thing that's important, but we do get some cold and chaos resistance. Same with this, reduced mana, and then I also get some life, some skill speed, which is cool. I didn't even know that. And then, yeah, that's all that matters on there. And then I have, you could use Ghost Wraith for more energy shield, but I feel like 4,400 is good enough. With this here, this was only like 5 divines, and then it does have 50 spirit on it, which isn't necessary, but having a few more minions definitely helps out with the consistency of the build. For the amulet, I didn't get any spirit on this since I got minion skills because those are super expensive. I got cast speed, critical hit chance doesn't matter. 35% increased maximum energy shield is pretty good, and then some spell damage. This is actually a pretty nice amulet. And then for the belt, we have ingenuity to make all these work because I have like all my resistances on these rings. Here, a little bit of cast speed on this, a little bit of life. And then for the boots, this makes our physical damage pinning, which means the enemies, when they are hit by Unearth, will almost always be immobilized, where they're just stuck in place for 4 seconds. That's what pinning is. Otherwise, you'd have to put a support gem on Unearth if you didn't have these boots to make it pinning. And you need some kind of CC on this build, because otherwise you will get rushed down kind of hard, even though you have all your minions. This just makes it so you're like super safe all the time. So onto the skill and support gems. We have Unearth, and you can see here it costs 1,000 mana. Before our cost multipliers, it would cost 1,500 mana after all that. And so we have Brutality for more physical damage, and that's why adding elemental damage with Scepter just does not matter. Adding chaos damage with, I think there's a passive on the tree that can give your minions chaos damage. It's just not going to matter. So we get more physical damage on our spell and on our minions. It does affect both. And actually, you can't really see what the minion damage is. It just shows you the Unearth damage on the basic attack unless you spawn in some minions here. You can see now that it's switched to the minion damage, and this is the base damage for them, which is pretty crazy. This is the average damage for just one minion, which is nuts. But we have Heft for more maximum physical damage, and you won't see it change because once, like, minions snapshot, so if I take skills off, it won't change this damage until I get rid of the Unearth, and then put this in here. Kill them again, open this up so it's pausing the game. And you can see this has way less maximum physical damage because of Heft. And then you'll also see here that more shit just doesn't do what it says it does in this game. This says supports skills which deal damage. I think Unearth does that. I would think it's a skill and it deals damage. And then you can see here that the maximum damage will not increase or decrease when you put that in there. So cool. And then we have Martial Tempo, obviously does not increase your cast speed and only increases the attack speed of the minions. And then our 2 increased level of, of this. And then, as I said before, this is Corrupted for +1 level. Then we have our minion posse here. We have Skeletal Clerics and Skeletal Warriors. The Clerics will revive the Warriors and themselves usually. Let's see if they do it. Yeah, they res some, so it just helps you spawn in more minions. It allows the minion warriors to be killed in front of packs of enemies and then drop vulnerability, which is a curse. And then they will get revived and continue the process, hopefully. If too many of them die, you have to wait for them to revive. That's why I have so much revive speed. And yeah, it doesn't matter what these are. They have like a ton of life as it is, so you don't need any supports. They're not doing much damage. They're just there to die. We have Skeletal Clerics, which have Ingenuity on them because it will reduce the cooldown of their revive. And then Meat Shield, so they don't die unless I kill them with Unearth. Sacrifice, so I can kill my own minions. It treats them as corpses. That's just what Sacrifice does. And then Grim Feast, because it's OP and gives you way too much energy shield. And then we have Pain Offering, which increases our cast speed and our damage on our minions, which is a more damage multiplier, which is crazy. We are increasing the effect of it with these 2 supports here. And this one makes it so you lose 15% of your life on use. And this one makes it so you have to impale 2 minions instead of just 1 with the Pain Offering for the buff to work, but it increases the buff effect. And then here we have Font of Rage, where the minions have to be within 3 meters of the offering. So it's providing benefit sometimes. It'll give the minions rage. I don't know if I said that, but it's just something. And then we have increased area of effect, and along with the increased area of effect on our tree, this actually gets 14.3 meters of aura radius, which is crazy and super good. And then, except you do kind of got to be careful when you cast your offerings, because with Sacrifice you can destroy them with Unearth, just to put that as a note. Then we have Bone Offering, which puts a shield on the minions and then does an explosion of physical damage. Since we're putting vulnerability on enemies, probably does like a decent amount of damage. And then you can increase the damage with Concentrated Effect and Considered Casting. And actually, if I spawn that back in, it'll show you the damage here. 12,000 to 19,000, which is something. And then we have it does have a more stun multiplier on the explosion. So I just put more stun on it. I never see it. Everything just dies too fast to see if it gets stunned, but it's something I can do. And then the explosion will also break armor to 15% of the physical damage dealt by the explosion. We have Eye of Winter to put critical weakness on enemies, mostly just in boss fights. Just makes it so our minions crit way more. Literally gives them 3 times as much base crit chance. And then we have Cast on Minion Death with vulnerability, so it's just automatic cursing in mapping, which is super nice. With Heightened Curse, Focus Curse for reduced activation delay, and then Hex Bloom so it spreads out. Okay, so this actually can clear tier 4 Breachstones. How do I pull that up? Level 82. I kind of gotta like focus because it is pretty hard, but I didn't talk about it, but you can put your minions on a single weapon set and then swap between them, and it will keep spawning them in. I did show it before the boss in the map, but you can just spawn all of them in like this. I just didn't explain how to do it earlier. And then I'll start this. It's just a mixture of casting a little bit from behind the front of the pack to make sure that the clerics and the warriors, when they get in front, are not blocking the path, and they are dying and dropping the vulnerability curse from Cast on Minion Death. And then also just making sure my offerings are up every time I get to a pack of enemies, hoping that my reviving minions are there, so the offerings go up. And I do tell my minions to move when they're in a space with no enemies, and as soon as I see an enemy, I click on like an enemy like that's kind of far back in the pack, and then I stop clicking because it seems to confuse them when I keep clicking on enemies to attack. So I'm just gonna lock in for a second. About halfway through, the timer will just disappear if it hits 0 or not, and then it'll let me finish the breach. So yeah, I might just cut around, or I may or may not talk, but I'm just gonna get rid of this because it's just gonna be me looking at nothing. So already off to a good start, where I forgot to get my reviving minions back in. So yeah, if you make it like right here, you seem to not fail for some reason. I will keep going at the best pace I can, but yeah, I seem to cut it close every time. Every time I focus, I can get through this. Even, like, I even had a really bad start because I'm a dummy. But besides that, it went about as smooth as usual. I think I'm noticing that Pain Offering will go on cooldown even if it doesn't cast, but I could be wrong. I guess it's always casting, but it's not always, like, I just cast it and no one got affected for some reason, but it went on cooldown, so I'm probably going to take Expanse off because that's not good. Yeah. So this is putting it on cooldown even when minions don't get affected. We got me back, and then we will just, well, we can walk up to the boss fight because he lectures us about something when we step into his boss arena for a while, so we can spawn in our bone constructs there, and then... So I'll kill some minions so we get vulnerability on him, and then cast the offerings. Eye of Winter. I think I just missed there. He's running away from us. Make sure the offerings are still up. Yeah, minions doing minion stuff. Okay, I want to try the Arbiter once. I'm going to do difficulty 3 because I want a respawn because I haven't done him in a while. If I beat him, I'll try tier 4, but if I don't beat him, then I'll still probably put this in the video. This build's slow as piss. I got no movement. You could put Blink on here. It just costs a little bit more to get some more spirit. I don't think you really want to run too many less minions than I have here. Get up here. It's like, hopefully he doesn't delete my offerings. Excuse me. Why did that slow me? Why does that slow me? What was I supposed to do? Fucking garbage fight, bro. God damn it. Alright, lock him back in. Holy, get your ass beat. Oh no, we gotta do this anyway. Oh my god, it's over. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, when he's not cheating, I'm pretty good. I will try tier 4 now that I know what's going on. Stay here. Oh, I almost always forget to cast Live Winter. Everyone stay here. Where the fuck is it? Whoa! Chill. Damn. That went pretty well. We're back. Money. Money. Omens and rerolling. Wow, this one's actually pretty good. I might be able to sell that for something. I don't have a scroll. Lol. Just grab random shit. But yeah, I do so much damage that I get to skip his BS mechanics, which I could do them. But if I don't have to, that's even better. Spirit and resistances, I don't know if that's worth anything. But, you know, we just... you know what? What's the... Ooh, that's like the lowest possible armor roll on that. Boom! 5 sockets. Yeah! Oh, it's probably worth like fucking 2 divines. Okay, yeah. About 3 or 4 divines. That's the end of the video. I didn't really talk about how much the price of everything was. This is probably... I got this for 30 divines. 20 divines, literally nothing. Nothing. A few divines, a few divines, a few divines. This can be anything between like 100 exalts and 40 divines, depending on who's selling it. There's just not many of them on the market. This is like, I think this was like 15 divines because of the crit chance and increased damage. And then whatever an ingenuity costs at the time. And then also whatever an adorn jewel costs at the time. All my blue jewels are like of divine or 2. And I think that's it. I'll put the total up on the screen of what I just said. But yeah, not like super duper expensive, but very expensive for the amount of power you get out of the build. But it's fine. That wasn't the point. If you want to see more of me exploring builds that aren't giga overpowered, then subscribe. Like the video if you liked this kind of content, and comment if you have any questions. Again, not really a build video, path of building in the description. I will be hopefully making more videos. This took me a while because I made 2 builds before this. One was complete trash. One was just like a slightly more convenient version of my totem build, but just worse. And then, so I didn't feel like posting it because it wasn't interesting to me. Then this is pretty interesting to me. This is my first Minion build I've ever made, so it did take me a little bit to understand what's important and not important in Minion builds, especially this one. And I'll be streaming on Twitch. I don't really want to stream on YouTube because it does kind of clutter up the channel with like stream VODs and stuff. And also, I just get a lot of questions when I stream on YouTube of the build because people like have a question about the build instead of like researching it or looking at the comments or listening to the actual video. They'll just come into my stream and blurt out question really fast, and it's just I'd rather not answer questions nonstop. I'll probably just stream for a couple hours here and there on Twitch, so go ahead and hit the link in the description, give me a follow, and thanks for watching. See ya.